Hey, yep, it's still Friday, so if you happen to catch this and you haven't caught the other videos, this is the disclaimer. I hate repeating myself, so I'm just going to do it. I vape. If it bothers you, move on. I cuss like a sailor. If that bothers you, move on. I'm very brassy and abrasive when I get worked up, and my profanity happens to escalate when I get frustrated and emotional content happens to start whirling around in my head. All of this is unscripted, so you never know what you're going to get. I might be mellow and I might get angry. So, this is the third try I've tried to do this take. It's because I keep forgetting the most important thing that I wanted to touch on. Now, as a survivor of the trauma bond and narcissistic abuse, I have little gold nuggets of advice because there's no Cliff Note book out there for dummies on how to survive the recovery process of narcissistic abuse. Basically, most people who are in the recovery phases of this, you're learning the condition to be able to compare it to what you dealt with. But there's nothing out there that is in your face that tells you how to stop your nervous system from popping off, how to get your hypervigilance to calm the fuck down, how to endure the trauma bond withdrawals. Nothing. It's basically you learn as you go. And I had to learn as I went, even though I was aware of the psychological condition, having dealt with this monster. And I studied abnormal psychology back in the 90s. And what was published back then is completely different than what is published now. And it is a learning experience, even being knowledgeable about it, but not realizing that I was actually being groomed and manipulated into it. And I gotta honestly say, this silly fuck had me trauma bonded at about the 6-week mark. And it progressively got worse. Now, there was a point where it was, and there was many discards. So you're going to hear the typical, it takes 7 to 8 times in order to finally be done with that back and forth Hoover bullshit. It takes that many times for you to either leave or be discarded. Combination thereof. Reverse discards. Like I would sit here and, be talking on the phone with, a friend of mine, and the stupid fucker would drive by on his motorcycle. And I literally have a friend, he was like, that was so fucking weird. You went dark. Boom. And I was like, yeah. He was like, that was fucking wild. He goes, man, that's dangerous, And so this is a male friend that, works within the same industry. And he was like, that was fucking wild. And of course, he reverse hoovered me back, and there I was. Back in the thick of it. And it was, he would reverse hoover every time I would start getting to some degree healed. Sort of. On a path toward healing. Where I wasn't you know, I was feeling a little bit more comfortable away from him, kind of thing. Did it several times. Just when I would, you know, I did get on my dating app thing. I was looking for something to distract me, and I had met an individual, and, you know, word got out that I was talking to someone, and he reverse hoovered. Or hoovered me back. That was a direct hoover. The next time was a reverse hoover kind of thing. The one discard was knee jerk. He lost his shit. That kind of thing. The first one was a knee jerk, lost his shit. The one where I experienced the trauma bond was the no rhyme or reason, came from out of nowhere. That one. That was the one that caused the trauma bond withdrawals thing. And this was what I wanted to talk about. There is a magnificent little device that I recently purchased out of spite, just pure desperation, because I had put on 30 pounds with the menopause and everything else, and I was like, you know what, I wonder if that might help. And it was that vibration plate thing that you see on Facebook, on, you know, advertised all over the place. I bought one of those, and I'll tell you what, I wish I had had that when I initially left the relationship, because what it did was kind of like an EMDR, EDMR, or whatever. It basically the electronic, like watching the ball bounce back and forth, and, you know, ruminating abuse and situations and how you felt within that abusive situation kind of thing. That thing, it vibrates your entire body more intensely than your popping off hypervigilant sympathetic nervous system and everything popping off all over your body. That vibration box is almost as effective. I mean, especially if you can just get like a video, or even, you know, like sitting there playing a video game, and you can ruminate while you vibrate. That thing was that alone helped with repressing the taste for alcohol, to pacify the pain on a daily basis. Doing that and having a treadmill and just, you know, walking and thinking, walking, moving, getting up and moving. But if you can't get up and move, just standing there and listening to something, even if it's a meditation, even if it's, like therapeutic sound beats, anything, just when you stop vibrating, the pop off and the hypervigilance of your nervous system doesn't seem so intense. And it's kind of like, a lot of people there, I'm an enigma. I drive trucks for a living, and my truck is vibrating, right? So I find comfort and peace because it's more intense than the vibration of that hypervigilance that I'm feeling, having left that toxic relationship, right? So I look forward to going to work. because it gives my body peace. But then when I get home, I'm like, okay, now what do I do? Vibrate. I'm quite literally within like 2 weeks of doing that every single day. Before I opened a beer, it's like as soon as I got home, I was looking forward to standing on that freaking vibration box and just relaxing. I decided, like out of the blue, that after doing that, I started to lose a taste for the alcohol. Now, I honestly will tell you, if I had had that when I initially left the relationship, I would have probably not relied on the alcohol so much. However, I'm not one to condone it because I know the damage that it does. However, everything it's the dose. So you got to have a little bit of self-control. However, when you're dealing with a trauma bond situation and you're dealing with the withdrawal that was described on another video, and from what I experienced, yeah, that video is spot on. It is and I don't know which video it is. It under the gazillions that are on YouTube. It's somewhere in there. Dealing with a trauma bond withdrawal is equal to that of an opiate addiction withdrawal. The heart palpitations, the body aches, the shaking, because the nervous system is so screwed up. I laid here for 3 days before I decided to get drunk and puke it and collapse on the floor and cry. Yeah. And if alcohol had not been here, I don't know if I would be here. Because I would have died of, like, literally a broken heart. Just, it's like there's a condition called broken heart syndrome. Usually it's typically, seen in elderly who have been married for, 60 years or plus, and when one passes, the one passes right after that. The withdrawal pain is excruciating, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Choosing to leave one of these relationships, whether you choose it or you are forced out of this individual's life by them, the discard. It takes every ounce of energy that you have in your soul to resist the Hoover or the reverse Hoover, for that matter. It is not a good time. It is painful. And a lot of people who don't understand this, who have never been in this situation, is like, yeah, just get over it. It is not that easy. There's a lot of layers to the psychological trauma that one experiences. You go through the entire relationship walking on glass. Your nervous system just gets torn apart. There's one video somewhere out there where it literally goes into detail on how the hypothalamus is affected and traumatized so badly that it causes a mild brain damage. Oh yeah, I experienced that. That was something. And it affects your whole entire immune system and your metabolism. Your cortisol and your adrenaline are fighting for real estate. The first day by yourself, away from this individual, where you are literally in a land of peace because you don't have that individual being an emotional threat to you. Your body is freaking out. It's like your soul doesn't know what to do, and it wants to escape. It's trying to crawl out your skin. And by about the 7th day is when you go through those withdrawals, and it literally feels like something is trying to crawl out of your body from the inside out. Narcissistic abuse. Literally, she's a narcissist and sociopathic. God, what's her name? She has a bunch of shorts out there, but she said it perfectly. That they hijack your soul, and you finding a way to literally recapture your soul within yourself is a lot of emotional turmoil and frustration, because you fall into one of these relationship dynamics and you don't know how you got there. You can do the shadow work. It's like, I realized why I ended up there. It's like I was content as a cucumber. I was at peace. I had my life. It was organized. Everything was great. And I sit there and hypothesize. I'm sitting there thinking, did the universe throw this man into my life to save his child? Did he put me into that man's life knowing I was not going to take his shit to get the kid out of it? Why did I have to go through this? Did the universe put me into that man's life so I would learn something so I could teach somebody else? That being the hard-ass, brassy, abrasive person that I am, having endured this, a lot of people are like, you're stronger than that. How did you do that? I don't know how you, of all people, it doesn't matter. It was manipulation and being groomed and gaslit and betrayed and, all these different elements of evil shit was so passively afflicted upon me that my focus was the kid and his well-being. And it always went that direction. It was like, we couldn't eat dinner without it turning into this man just berating and belittling this child. And I would be just chomping at the bit. And it's in one of those situations where you don't want to show your ass in front of the kid because you don't want the kid to see that kind of interaction. Whereas the kid heard all of it anyway. But it was almost as though I was a deflection. If he wasn't yelling at the kid, he was yelling at me. And better he be yelling at me than the kid absorbing it all. Kind of thing. I'd mentioned about the new supply. The new supply doesn't have a relationship with the child like I had. She didn't have that as a motivator to stick around. I have no idea why she's putting up with this shit. I have no idea. Makes no sense. I mean, it basically is narcissistic voodoo. I mean, it makes sense to me. But to the outside world, I'm pretty sure they're sitting there like, what the fuck? What does he do? Nothing. He doesn't bring anything. It's all about him. She's running herself ragged. Kowtowing to this piece of garbage. This crybaby, covert, vulnerable, sympathy predator, fucking narcissist who has an overlapping, petulant, borderline condition and dissociative identity, because you don't know what fucking personality you're going to deal with from one day to the next. And I was trying to explain all this to my sister, and she's like, yeah, it sounds like he's got alcohol syndrome. I said, so why didn't he fucking go pop off the other night when he drank half a bottle of Fireball? Oh. Doesn't make any sense. I sat there psychoanalyzing and putting the patterns, doing the logic puzzle on this man. It's like, okay, beers and liquor, popped off. Beers alone, popped off. Liquor alone, popped off. Okay, there's no combination left. And then the next week, liquor, nothing. Beer alone, nothing. Combination, nothing. What is the difference between that and that? Utter fucking confusion. Was he doing it on purpose? So, my advice, if you are enduring one of these and you need to escape, and you have no idea how you're going to escape, but you know you're gonna. What I suggest is getting one of those vibration boxes as soon as you leave, and using it as a part of your therapy. Watch the content on YouTube. Find somebody who resonates, your personality, who helps you, whether it has a religious backstory connotation to it, whether it's just educational. There's thousands. Whether it's a self-aware narcissist or a therapist who understands the condition, there's thousands. Whether there's somebody like me. Vibrate and watch. You will heal faster. If you have to succumb to getting shit-faced and puking and, whatnot to get through the trauma bond withdrawals, yeah, do what you gotta do. I can assure you, you commit yourself. Yeah, from what I understand, the padded room ain't no better. You better off, being able to at least smoke freely or, drink freely and cry freely without some kind of weird pharmaceutical that is going to numb your pain. But as soon as they release you, you're going to be just back right where you started. It's better to endure it natural way. Find a lifeline. BetterHelp is great to get you a little bit of a head start. But yeah, searching for somebody who understands narcissistic abuse and how to recover from it and point you in the right direction. There's a ton of information out there. EDMR, the books, I got a couple behind me. Little bit of awareness. I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. It's kind of like a borderline-y thing. But narcissists have the same thing. I hate you, don't leave me. Don't you dare leave me. They try to unalive themselves, things like that. Make you feel guilty. Yeah, he pulled that crap on me too. How to Be the Love You Seek. It teaches you how to change your love language, or how to recognize what your love language is and be able to express yourself without feeling weird about it. How to Meet Yourself. That one, basically, it's a lot of shadow work. How to find out what kind of a person you are. Why are you the way you are? I got a shit ton more. I've got one on dark psychology, manipulation. Basically, you can learn to see through it so you don't end up doing this again to yourself. What does that say? Hold on. Let me get it. Yeah, and I read somewhere, if you own these books, you're a narcissist. The bullshit. I'm trying to get inside their head. Hang on a minute. Yeah, it was like, yeah, if you own this book, you're a narcissist. The fuck you are? I haven't even hardly looked at it. Uh, the 48 Laws of Power. Yeah, there's what podcast was it? Diary of a CEO, I think, does an interview with the author of this book. Yes, there's that. Yes, and there's a lot of weird narcissistic strategy, like passive stuff, like what they the way they say things to kind of fuck with you. Yeah, that kind of thing. This one I haven't. It's like my brain wasn't prepared for it, but I ordered it. So when I did get healed, I could actually entertain it. But this one is Dark Psychology and Manipulation. Discover 40 covert emotional manipulation techniques. I don't need to use the techniques. I just want to know when these are being used on me. That kind of thing. It's like theology, theology majors, they study every religion. That doesn't mean they want to become, if they're a Christian, they're studying all the religion, doesn't mean they want to be a Buddhist. It's learning, know thy enemy, that kind of thing. So, but yes, I highly recommend the vibration plate, especially to help balance your nervous system. It's the best advice I can give right now, because everything else is a learning experience. Everybody is it's going to take time. One of the books, the self-directed DBT skills, might want to look into that. I kind of entertained that a little bit. But there's an EMDR, EDMR, whatever the hell it is. There is an online one. You pay the money, and you get this little box, and you sit there and watch the bubble go back and forth. That did help for a bit. I did that probably, I don't know, maybe a month, and then I got busy. So I canceled that membership, and I haven't needed it since. When I got on that box, I quit drinking. That was the big push. So everybody's healing is individualized. Everybody will heal at their own pace, but these are just little insights to, this is what you're going to experience. You'll eventually get into a rhythm, and you find your way back to sanity. But it's not going to happen overnight, and you need to exercise more patience with yourself than, your sanity probably has left. And that's one of the biggest things, the patience. You just left a relationship that was full of somebody exercising their impatience with you. And here you are by yourself, and you're being impatient with yourself. And that's just self-sabotage. Don't do that. Learn the skills, do the studying, get the vibration box. Swear by it. It's the best thing I ever did for myself, is get that thing. So, good luck. Hopefully I don't have to talk about this much anymore, because I really, this is one subject that it took me a long time to heal from, and I really just am trying to put it behind me. But peace out.